they may have 1 to 2 minutes to answer the question, depending on the nature of the question itself. After that section, we'll go on to not really sure what to call it, the section where they question each other, where each candidate will be able to ask the other candidate up to 4 questions. And after that, we will do closing statements and get this done as soon as possible, because these debates made me blow my brains out. So, Dmac, Kyle, heads or tails?
Heads.
Dmac?
I'll say, yeah, tails.
Okay. Alright, it was heads. Kyle, you may begin. Let me get the timer set up first.
5 minutes, you said?
5 minutes to talk about your Captadio and Dmac's Captadio. Dmac, you cannot interrupt during this time.
Oh, yeah. Let me know when you're ready.
Begin.
Alright, so, as you all know, our military is kind of not at the state it should be in. Talking to you all now, if you guys were veterans of any war against Roman Lake, you guys all know we continuously get shit on by Lake Daemon and other Greek states. Why is that? Why do we get shit on? And if you guys, let's go back and let's think about the military. What is our military meant to be? Our military is meant to conquer. Our military is meant to be good. We're meant to go out and dominate these Greek states. But all the time, we keep losing, and these Greek states still continue to dominate us. What must be changed? Well, I'll tell you. My entire Captatio is all about changing how our system works in the entirety. This system we use today is the same system we've used for years and years now, and that's why we continue to lose against Lake and other groups. We need to do something different so that we can actually beat these groups. That leads me to my first point. I want to reunite. I want to make the army more cohesive in terms of the Legion. I want to make one Discord and the categories into one joint Discord. Legion Discords will be dissolved and it'll be one Discord. But there'll be categories for Legions where we'll still have, they'll still have their individualism. As you can see in Senate chat, I'm going to send a GIF. POV, you're the Ivy Legate and joint comms. It still has the comms. And in my points, you'll obviously see many, possible opposition. And I have questions that are answered in that. I'm not going to read it because I don't have time. Furthermore, I know exactly how to run a group. Obviously, you guys know me. I am probably one of the best commanders in the genre out there. It's very hard to find someone that's almost able to go toe-and-toe with me in commanding. And I exactly know how a Legion works. I started my own group, and yeah, I don't stay in Rome the entire time, but I did some new experiences. I made my own group, and I know exactly from making NCOs to officers. I know exactly how a Legion is supposed to work. And I believe that, with my efforts, I could make Legions really good because I know how to work with them. Prior to becoming Consul, prior to this debate, I've been working behind the scenes with other people setting up officer corps before I'm not even Consul yet. I'm not even Consul, and I've done a lot of work, as you can see. I've worked with many people, and I can explain it later in questions. I've worked, I found connections, and I've been able to bring in people to set up officer corps so that the structure of the Legion is good and ready to go when I become Consul M. Furthermore, on my plans, I have a lot of development plans, battlegrounds-wise, in terms of unifying the military. I will ensure that there's no toxicity because we need a cohesive and legions that are able to work together. Name me 2 legions right now that are able to work together, and there are no legions right now willing to work together. So how would we even be able to go to war or such if not even 2 legions as of right now can even do anything? Furthermore, I've worked with developers. I've been making new battlegrounds for our legions so that they can do something other than fight the same map for 2 years. I know how to give advice to legates because I've been in their shoes before. And I will make sure the military is ultimately more disciplined. Now let me explain to you why I'm the better choice. I've experienced running groups before. And yes, maybe they didn't work as well because here I am. But I understand now how they work. I know how to beat groups like Lake Diamond. I know how cohesive units needs to be. Dmac, on the other hand, I believe he is a good man if you want the Roman military to be stable. But I don't think being stable is what the military really needs. We don't need a military just to be stable. We need a military that can actually go above and beyond and conquer groups.
1 minute.
you can vote for Dmac if you want it to just be stable, and I mean it'll be fine. I mean I don't think there's anything wrong with him. He might make some mistakes, and it'll be overall stable. But if you want the military to actually be something, be conquerors, and actually know what to do, then vote for me. On top of that, Dmac has been making the same mistakes many consuls have been making. He has been finding people as legates, and they're good people like Wandering and Alex, but he doesn't have the structure or any of the officers to actually bring in with them. On the other hand, actually, people like Alex and Wondering, I've actually been talking to them prior to being consul, and I've worked with them heavily to set up their officers with them because I know what it means to actually help out a group. On the other hand, Dmac, he has found those candidates, but
Wrap it up.
as you can see, all right, I mean, you all get my gist. I'm good.
All right. Thank you for that. Dmac, are you ready?
Yes, I am, Spork. Hit me up. Yeah.
And you may
Tell me
begin.
when. Thank you. All right. Steam Senate, it's good to see you here. Now, I'm going to go over why I should be your council imp. Now, my plans, they might not be as elaborate as developing a whole new battleground just yet, but I do believe a few incorrect statements were made just then. I don't plan on just making a stable military. I plan on giving us the best military. My goals are a lot more ambitious than what was stated there.
I'm pausing the timer 1 second, Dmac. You're not countering his arguments right now. You're just opening up, talking about your Contatio.
Okay.
And
understood.
Of course.
Understood.
Everything right now.
All right. So, anyways, going over my plans. Well, I plan to make myself in the military one of the best Romans had in a row. So, I plan on restructuring the field administration that we've had in the past. I've already been in talks with Wondering, IO Alex. Now, I haven't yet gotten to the point, of course, where I've looked into their office, of course, so on. Right now, I'm just letting them build their legions up, their manpower, so that when they come in, I can look, review it, see if they're capable, and structure them in. That is my goal with that. Now, aside from this, though, I also plan to create an empire-wide funding system for each legion, just so that any low ranks enlisted aren't neglected, that can be funded properly. That's been a really large issue lately. Our enlisted have been heavily neglected. There's just not been any really involvement to them. And I think a lot more people will be willing to dedicate to a legion if they're more taken care of by joining a legion. It gives them something to strive for and be active for. To keep going from this, I also plan to expand the military court system that we currently have. Because currently it's nothing. But with this, we'll actually be able to punish desertion. A senior officer can go to a judex, state, this guy deserves the legion, I need you to sign off on it. And once he signs off on that, the military judex signs off. That guy's criminalized. NCOs won't get confused about recruiting him. And it also will avoid issues like free ranking or abusive punishments from like Lex Munitio from the high ranks. Because the lower ranks can actually have a voice with it. It's actually useful. And of course, my biggest plan is I'll be changing the way our genre operates. I've already got Lake agreed. I'm sure I can get Figueroa to agree. I've already got every other large state to agree to this except for Figueroa. And what this means is Nate has already signed off on it. It'll be a complete change to how the genre we're in right now. We'll have our own genre. It'll be held by Roasted. We'll have a map. We'll develop a map. We've already got this working out, starting to be planned out. He and Nate has signed off on this, and he is letting us do this. We'll have almost every large state participate. Like I said, we've already got the agreements we need. And with this, there'll be governorship overhauls. And the Ducks position will be a bit changed. They'll have control over the governorship. And what that means is they can send their legions to military campaign, and they can actually have reasons for their position, not just as an overseer, but as an actual proper rank. Now, this also means I plan to implement a sister legion top system. This way, 2 legions can actually train together, potentially have joint events every so often. They can learn from each other and get a little bit more bonded. So when a military campaign starts, they can actually go out and get things done. Now, why I'm better than Kyle, I respect Kyle. I got all the respect for this guy, but I believe I am the better option. I've been in this group. I've been in it for a little while now. I know how things are working here. I know what needs to be improved on. He's recently come from outside, and yes, he has put a lot of effort into planning for the future for this position. But overall, I don't feel that he can dedicate enough to Rome. And I feel that if he winds up losing interest, a lot of the plans are kind of going to fall apart. But for myself, I'm completely dedicated. I don't intend on going losing interest or anything.
Wrap it up.
Yes. So again, thank you for your time. All respect to Kyle here, but I do believe I'm the better option.
All right, awesome. That concludes opening statements. Our next section is going to be questions. I currently only have 7 questions, 5 for both candidates, and then 1 for each specifically. The time for each question given to each candidate depends on the question itself, but it will be the same for both. There won't be any cases where I ask the same questions and they get different time. And by no means do you have to use the entire time of the question. You can literally just do a sentence if you want, or you can take the entire time, whatever you wish. So, we flip coins. Kyle, you went first for opening statements. That means Dmac is going to go first for questions. The first question for both candidates is in regards to province activity. How do you plan to bolster province activity with the new province being opened recently? And how important do you believe province activity is for the military? So, Dmac, you have 2 minutes starting right now.
Okay, so to wrap this up quickly, what I plan to do to increase province activity, for one, the first and foremost important thing is I plan to host more events on the province. Like, that big Dmac event I have planned that's going to involve other states. Festivals like those. The province needs to utilize what's been given to it more often to make it more interesting. Right now, you kind of have the sand pits and that's it. There's not a lot of outsider activity. And there's also been plans with Bay, who's talked to myself. We talked about this. Legions can get rewarded for being the most active within each month, maybe a Robux reward or something like that to kind of help fuel activity, keep them going. And yeah, I believe province activity is important because the more active a legion is, the more recruits it can. And the more they patrol, the more they send NCOs out, the stronger they can grow their legion. So I want to get province activity up with the legions. I'm going to host events more often. I'm not just going to rally them against outsiders because, like I said, there's not even a lot of outsiders on the province lately. I don't believe that will do good. But what I do believe will do good is hosting more interesting events, which I'm already doing with the Dmac event. I'm going to be doing this at the end of this week. Should be a big deal. And I believe that will kind of encourage more activity naturally from the province. People will want to go on the province more. That'll lead to outsider
20
clashes.
seconds.
Legions will have more to do. And that sums it up. Like, there's not a lot of easy ways to increase province activity. You've just got to be innovative in what the developers have and work with the devs to get more out. But yes, that's all I have to say.
Awesome. Alright, let me reset my timer. Kyle, you may begin. We've got 2 minutes.
Alright, so the province activity has always been an issue because you have legions. Okay, genuinely, who here actually likes to go to the province and just chill? No one, right? Because the legions, they can guard the gates. So, I have this in my plans. So, I plan on, as a consul, I would like to be working alongside the devs to be sponsoring groups, stable groups like Lake Daemon. Because yeah, they go through some shit, but they're pretty much very active in the genre. They know life the genre, and I would like to work with the devs to sponsor them an actual place, like teams, at our province. And that way, me and Spectre, we know each other very well. We can coordinate events where people like the Spartans, they can come in with a big force of groups, like maybe 30 people, or maybe even more, maybe their entire state. And by doing that, it would give our legions an actual reason to fight people at the province. On top of that, I would like to work alongside the devs again to perhaps work on some siege tech. We had some experimental siege tech back in the Belgica where they could build stuff, and I think if Lake could have access to, like, they could siege the actual province, there would be some real threat that the Romans would actually, we would want to send our legions to protect our province. But if you could just lock the doors, I mean, what use is that? So that's kind of the thing that I would be doing to improve province activity, just hosting, sponsoring those groups, like Lake, working alongside devs to make it just a better and a more enjoyable experience for everyone. Doors can be currently broken. So I didn't know that, babe, but like I said, I'll be working with the devs, for doing that. That's all for me.
All right, awesome. All right, so moving on to the next question. This is a much easier question, so if we give it a minute each. This will start off with Kyle. The question is, how do you plan to tackle Altine, Merkin, etc. in the Legion?
So
you may start now.
So my one Legion Discord, and some of you guys may not agree, but some of you guys might not have the right, side of it yet. So just work with me on this. So if we have one singular Legion Discord, how do people merc? Let's see. They create a new account. They link their Discord to another account. Obviously, alting and merking, you can never 100% remove it. You can never. I can have an account which is 10 years old, has everything, and I can still give it to someone to alt in. Alting and merking, it'll never be 100% clear. Okay, I just want everyone to know that. But if we use one Discord, it will have to make alting and merking much harder. Because if we use one Discord, how are they going to be in two legions when it's in one server? They can't. So that will reduce some alting and merking, but it can't,
10 seconds.
Overall. What'd you say?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. So that's pretty much it. And also, I would obviously check on war games, check on accounts that seem fishy and then remove them.
All right, next timer, Dmac, you may begin.
Okay, so while I somewhat agree alting and merking can't be fully controlled, I don't necessarily see how a joint Discord would prevent that too much. Like, if they're going to alt, they could just make alternate accounts. But on how to deal with that, I believe what should be done is simply rigorous background checks, maybe every week to 2 weeks on each legion. The high command should look over this, like the Consul, the Praetorium, and maybe each week or bi-monthly, every 2 weeks, they should come up with a list of people, send it to the high command of each legion, and give them 48 hours to get those people out or face consequences for it. Now, obviously, this isn't foolproof, because like Hal said, you can't always eliminate it completely. Like, some alts may go undetected, and it's a little bit difficult.
Wrap it up.
But in the end of the day, I do think that would be an effective method.
All right, thank you for that. All right, so next question is, let's jump into this one. This one, I'll give more time of 3 minutes per candidate. And it's in regards to, do you have any current plans for any Legion's officer corps? Who are they, and when would they be implemented? And if you do not have any plans for any officer corps, what are you planning to do to improve current Legion standards? It's a bit of a bigger question. That's why I'm giving 3 minutes each. So let's begin with. Okay, who's doing that? 1 second. And exiled. Okay. So we're starting with Dmac. So repeat the question: are you planning on doing any new legions, and who will be the officer corps? And if not, what are you doing to the current legions? Begin.
Okay, so first of all, with IX, I don't plan many changes. Mithridates just got in there. He's done pretty good work. IX still needs to improve on quite a few levels. However, at the end of the day, he still just gotten in there. So if it starts slacking, I'll obviously look into replacements, but I'll be keeping him. For II has been having quite a few issues lately. Now, the HighCom has recently started reform, so I want to see how those go, see if they start improving things. If they can't do so, however, I do have a plan to bring Wandering Strike in as the legate. He has quite a few people built up, as he's told me, continuously in DMs, that he's been planning this out for a long time to come back to Rome. He would come in, he would help replace a lot of the kind of failed administration if they can't get things up and running in time. However, that's not just for II. There's also the issue with XX. I've spoken with both Atticus149 and IO Alex, both pretty good guys, really good guys. Now, currently, I'm waiting to see who has the better concrete plans, who can build it up better, who can get more people in, and also build a systematic legion where they can build people up as well. So it'll just depend on who really takes that, shows the most initiative. I admit they're both pretty good commanders. As for VI, recently I've been staying at Harley's legate. In the event there's issues with the Harley, it'll just prove a point that I may make during this debate if I'm given the chance. And in that case, VI would most likely be disbanded again. So the only deal is that AJS isn't legate anymore. That's my deal with. That was my deal with the Harley. I don't plan to back down from it. That was what we stated, and I don't care if they want to meme it or not. Like I
45
said,
seconds.
If they don't listen to that, then the Legion it's not going to stick around. AJS has failed the Legion multiple times. He only rallied because Kyle was DMing people to get in there, which Flavius himself stated that. Now, that doesn't show any of AJS's capabilities. It shows the Harley has good connections. It doesn't show AJS's connection.
All right. There you go.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. All
right, good. Kyle, you may begin.
Can you reinstate the full question again? I got the gist of it, but I just want to make sure.
So, are you planning to bring up any new legions? And if so, what would be the officer course? And if not, what are you planning to do with current legions? Starting the question, right there, got 3 minutes.
So I got an interesting thing. So, Dmac said he was talking to Wondering, but in fact, it was actually me. I don't know if you guys know, but I've been doing a lot of planning under the works behind the scenes. Wondering was originally brought in to take XXI, and then he backed out because he didn't feel like it. But then I was able to convince him to be able to, set up his officer course. Same thing with Alex. Now here's the thing: we have, Dmac who's talking to Alex, and if you look in the screenshots and Senate chat, you can see Dmac was full and willing, able to give Alex a legion when Alex didn't even have officers or any long-term plans, as he was stating. Now, for me though, I've actually been working hard to be implementing these officer corps when they come for these new legions. If you look in the Senate chat again, I've been working with Alex, with his officer corps, as well as Wondering to be setting up an officer corps. Those are specific officers that I know will be coming in and that I helped bring in because I know I wanted to make my legion successful instead of just throwing in legates and hope they can do the best, just like Dmac is doing. Because I don't want to just keep throwing in legates and replacing them and keep replacing them until hopefully one does good. No, I want to make sure that when I go in with a legate, I am damn sure that they will be successful from the start and not willing to gamble whether or not they will fail. In terms of disbandment legions, obviously the current legions, we are not up to par, but I know how to teach officers and I will be willing to work with the current legions to get their quality up. I do not care about rally numbers, and neither should the Senate. Our rally numbers, we have 192,000 members in the group. Our rally numbers can be fixed any day of the time, but we need quality in the structure of our legions, which I know how to fix, and which I will be able to work with the legions to do that, the current legions at least. That is all for my question, or for my answer.
Awesome. Okay.
Hey, may I have a response?
Nope. You should be saving responses for the next section. You guys will be able to ask questions to the other candidates or respond to such things. I'll explain it more. That basically we're getting all the information from the opening statements and these questions out there for you guys to question each other later on. So save your questions for each other for later on. Now, we got 4 more questions, but we're going to start doing the Pacific questions. So this one is going to be 2 minutes long, directed towards Kyle specifically.
Okay.
Be a 2-minute answer. The question is, how can we expect you to be stable as Consul of a track record of leaving the seat multiple times already in the past?
Leaving what?
Leaving the Consul seat multiple times in the past. I assume the question is referring to. You may begin.
I never left as Consul. In AJCs, I was Praetor M once just for shits and giggles, and then he made that reform, if y'all remember, right before he was terminated, that military magistrate positions were gone. It was like that one reform nobody liked, which he later reverted. I was never in a Consul position, and if we're talking about YCAs, and which, I mean, I'm not proud of that, being in that realm, but it may be relating to that. I didn't just leave it. I didn't just desert. The Emperor was retarded, and then he removed me because he was retarded. I never left my position as Consul, and I've never left a group just because I wanted to go somewhere else. I've only left groups when it was my time to go, or I just got removed. I've always stayed until the end, just like any other group. Just not just for Rome, but for any other Greek states, like my own Macedon. You know, I didn't leave it until it was finally over. I stayed with it until the end. And for Rome, I have big plans with it, and I don't intend on leaving. My plans are big. I want to beat Lake, and I'm not going to leave at least any time until like we beat Lake. So, yeah, that's my answer for whoever asked that.
Awesome. Okay, now we have a question for you, Dmac. Dmac.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about what specific experience you have leading legions themselves besides magistrate positions, and can you go more into your experience actually leading legions? Begin.
Okay. So when I first came into Rome, and I first got my large position within Rome, that was with II. I became legate. This was 2018. I believe, yes, 2018, somewhere around there. It's a real long time ago. The Legion was a joke. I was brought in, it was a joke. It was ruined by past administration leaving from it, and the Legion was set to be disbanded within a few weeks. And within 1 week, we had 1 week to save it. And in 1 week, when I was in there as legate, I took that Legion to the finals and war game and out-rallied every other Legion a few days after that. That's how much I put into that Legion. That was only rallying like 5 to 7. Eventually, I was made Dux. Acus Fuchsius can confirm this. He considered me one of his best. And he considered the Legion as one of the top dogs. I did a lot of good work in that Legion, and I've done a lot of good work in the military overall. I've accomplished near impossible situations countless times, which is what the military currently is in. It's been failed multiple times by constant past failure. That's why I want to run for Council M. I want to get it again, because I have consistently been able to bring things back from the brink and get it to the very top. Now, some might think I don't have a lot of military experience because of my recent positions. That's completely incorrect. The Witters himself, one of the most noble legates, said himself that he didn't want anyone else being Dux but me or Flavius Furius Fuchsius of his legion. He didn't trust anyone else. That's how trusted I was in the high call, because I've always managed to get things to the top. That's all I have to say.
All right. Just a side note, I'm gonna be adding 2 more questions, one for each of you as well, on top of the 2 we currently have. It's gonna be 4 more questions, just because we're making good time and people have been spamming my DMs with questions, so I've decided to add 2 more. But anyways, we'll move on to the next one. This is gonna be a quick 1-minute response from each of you. Starting with Dmac, what are your plans for War Games? Go.
So my plans for War Games is the next War Games that's hosted at the end of this week. I'm planning to use that as a test run. The Legion that does the best, of course, that'll let us see which Legion has improved the best. However, I'm more testing the Legions that are struggling currently. I want to see if they get wiped out, how much they've improved. II's made some promises that they're improving themselves. I want to see if they can put their words out there, make their promises, keep their promises. I want to see if they're able to do so. However, if they're unable to do that, then in that situation, that would be like the final test for me.
Wrap it up.
They've had a long time, and that would be when I brought in new administration.
Awesome. Now, Kyle, go 1 minute. Begin.
So War Games is going to be, by tradition, going to be still remain under my Consul, because War Games is tradition, but I'm not going to use it as any sort of like, oh, this legion is good, because ultimately we're just fighting other Roman legions, which doesn't really make sense when we should be focusing on fighting other things. I will be making more of a celebratory tournament rather than, oh, this legion is good, oh, this legion sucks. I will be focusing my bases on legion quality against Greek states rather than going against other Roman legions. I also plan on doing my war games at new battlegrounds, so we could actually have some different strategy, different, more fun for war games. I also plan to add some new war game stuff, like probably like what I call champion war games, basically explorators versus explorators from every legion. I want to make it fun, but I don't want to make it like the main thing that we all focus on so much. And perhaps I could probably add naval battlegrounds for naval war games. I think that could be fun.
Awesome. Thank you for that. By the way, thank you both of you for being good at the debate timing. That's kind of right about that, but we're going good so far. All right, so I've got 3 more questions. Our next question is going to be a 2-minute. Let me just set it up. My app sucks. So this is a question in regards to Consul. You may focus. This is a question for both candidates, and as Consul, you're charged mainly with the military, but your power does extend to all sections of Rome. Are you planning to do anything with other sections in regards specifically to the JC or to the Senate? Starting with Kyle, you may begin.
Well, obviously the Consul M's Imperium does extend to civil side, but my main focus would ultimately remain in the military. The military right now is not very stable, so it isn't really. I guess it's not. It doesn't look good if I'm focusing on the civil side when our military is in complete shambles. All right, that's not how it's supposed to be. Obviously, I will still look into some parts of the civil sector, but I will ultimately look with my co-consul, the Consul C, in regards to many of the civil sectors. Obviously, I'll still look into things, and I'll make sure it doesn't go to absolute shit. But my main focus will still remain in the military until the military is stable enough for me to focus more on civil sectors.
Okay, awesome. Dmac, got 2 minutes. Begin.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'll be focusing more on the military than civil sectors. That's common sense as Council in. However, I have obviously talked about my plans for things such as military court that I've planned out before. I've talked about this already, the plans to strengthen it, make it more useful, both for the military, which would also benefit the Judicial College as well. So I do have plans that kind of overlap there. I've already talked with people within the Judicial College about this. So I believe it would be a great success. It would definitely improve our military systems. As for anything else regarding the Senate, obviously, I'll be working with the Council C. And me and Lupus have a really good relationship on this. We could handle anything needed together. However, I don't really intend to touch the Senate too much unless it's an emergency or such, like with the raccoon situation or whatever, because I typically intend to just stay and focus on the military until it's up to peak performance. That's my main goal.
All right, awesome. Alright, so the next question is, if you just check, I'm going to give this one a 3-minute timer because it's kind of a juicy, relevant question right now. So it's going to be 3 minutes for each candidate. This has been good. So what are your plans to fix these that are struggling with activity count, skill count, or any sort of issues? And this goes to specifically, what are your plans to dealing slash fixing with the 6th Legion currently? So there's a 2-part question. One about fixing legions that are struggling in general, and then 2, what are you planning to do specifically with the 6th Legion? Starting with Dmac, you got 3 minutes. Begin.
Alright, so as I've said before, I'm already planning administration changes for the legions that are struggling. I don't think I need to repeat this much because I've already given my plans for those. With the 6th Legion, this is an interesting one because a lot of people probably don't understand the reason that I made the 6th Legion. I took back my disbandment. I wanted to do a test. The Harley stated himself that he would take Legate if it meant saving his. Someone who has left and dipped from legions multiple times. I wanted to test his dedication, and more importantly, I wanted to test the competency of someone Kyle closely associates with. Now I'm getting threats to go to Lake if I don't make AJS a Legate again. Now here's the thing. I think that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with this because either way, I would have disbanded VI in the event they didn't agree to that to begin with. So they would have been gone either way. However, I think this shows a good message to the people Kyle has been associated with, who Flavius messaged Kyle, and he sent this in a Senate chat. He's denying it now. He is denying it now. Kyle did tell him, DM'd him about getting more people into VI. So it's clear he wanted VI to stay. He wanted VI to stay, at least for the time being. That is what Flavius said. He told... Exactly. Maybe I didn't word that properly. He told Flavius to get in. And by the odds of that, more likely he got other people. Clearly, he cares about VI. He wants it to restart. Now, if the high command is incapable, if they're going to threaten to lead to Lake, what would that say about the rest of the legions that Kyle would plan to create or levy or bring whoever he plans to bring in? I believe that if VI stands by their word, then great. However, actually, yes, you did not, Harley. Flavius did, which the Magister E could even confirm because he commented. So that's my point.
So you're like, 30 seconds?
This was simply a test that I wanted to see. I wanted to test the loyalties and the dedication because I do believe that Harley is a dedicated person. Flavius is a significant rank. Flavius, you just said Flavius would be running the Legion with in your
10
Discord.
seconds, wrap it up.
In your VI Discord. I could just ban as well. He could still pull people. So like I'm saying, I hope at least that VI proves themselves capable. If not, then I can disband them and I can bring other people for a GMT Legion.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right. Kyle, you got 3 minutes. Begin.
Repeat the entire question again.
Oh.
I know the last part was like VI and then...
Yeah, so what are your plans to fix struggling legions? And more specifically, what are your plans with 6? So it's a 2-part question. You may begin. Okay. 3 minutes.
Struggling legions right now, they need to know the quality. It's not about the rally numbers. It's not about, oh, I can rally 50 guys. It doesn't make a legion good. It's the quality of the officers. And I know exactly how to just do that. In my time, I've raised over many people to become great officers, like, coming from nothing. I have the experience to, help out legates to actually make them improve on their officer corps and their structure. I don't care that they can't rally because ultimately it relies upon how good quality the officers are. And I will be focusing on helping them learn new things from an inexperienced guy like me. For example, Masson, I raised a lot of officers like Cool Chris, very good commander now. Alex, one of the best commanders ever. He was responsible for PG success. Moving on to VI, I don't know what Dmac's saying. Like, I'm trying to I brought FLA in when I was a legionary servant just to hype it up because there was VC going on. So I was, I didn't try and do some shit. I don't know what he's trying to say I'm doing. But for the situation with VI, I've actually been working on this prior to this debate. The reason why Darley left VI in the first place was because his officer corps left. Such people were named Great for This, who went to make his own Greek state called Thassos, which contained a lot of Darley's veterans and guys that could help him out. And since they left, Darley didn't really have an option. But about a few days ago, me, Darley, and Great for This, we sat down in a group chat where we all discussed the great for this, and his guys coming back to VI, which is why we had Darley coming back a little bit early. Bit premature, more than I like, but still. Because I've been working on getting actually officers in for VI. I haven't done it yet, right? But I'm getting people like great for this and all of Darley's old officers back in so that they can restart it to make it good. I'm not just gonna say, "Hey, Darley, go fucking run VI and make it good." No, I'm going to be responsible for VI. It's not going to be Darley that's responsible for VI success. I would help Darley help grow VI. So I've been helping him talk to other people that used to be a part of his officer corps and bringing them back, and I've been persuading them to come back into VI. And I'm not just gonna, like, for any other legion, I'm not just gonna throw in a legate, hope he does good. Oh, he doesn't. Throw him out. Replace him with another one. No, I will build upon the legions and I will help them grow. And if they fail, I will take it as my loss. I'm not just gonna blame, oh, this legate is really bad, it's his fault, let's just replace him. No. If a legate does bad, it's my fault. I will take accountability for it. And that's the same thing I will do for VI. That's all for my question.
Awesome, thank you. Now on to the last question before our next section. It's one for both candidates. I will give you 2.5 minutes just to make this a bit fast. What are your long-term plans for the military? There's specific things there are like instant things you want to do, but things you want to do over time if you were to get multiple consul positions over the next couple of months. So starting with Kyle, you got 2.5 minutes.
So my long-term consul M plans is I want to make the military a cohesive unit. I don't want just random legions like having the bigger dick. Oh, I'm a better legion. No, I want our legions to be cohesive and able to work together, unlike now. There's a lot of toxicity in HiCom chat, which has not been moderated. There's spam pinging and fucking practice raid requests. And a lot of toxicity in general that's going around unchecked. My long-term plans is to mend the relationship between legions so that they are able to work together. And I want to be able to work together in the point where we can fight Lake. Because ultimately, I'm probably the only commander out there that can actually know how to go toe-and-toe against Lake itself. I don't mean just a legion going against a Perioko. I'm talking about 70v70 battles. I believe I'm the only one that can really be able to command against that. And with my expertise in running groups before, I want to make our legion stable to the point where we're cohesive, we're working together, and together with my commands, we will be able to take on Lake and reclaim what was ours once. We lost the Roman Lake War, as much as you guys might agree or not. We still lost, and I'm not proud of that. Are you guys? That's all.
Awesome. Same question to you, Dmac. Begin.
All right. So my long-term plans. I've spoken on this before. I'll speak on it here again. Like I said, me and Lupus are playing a complete genre overhaul, which, if I win, I can continue planning this with him. What this will do is we'll have a full, complete genre we can work within. We can have military campaigns with it. Wars can actually mean things again. We can fight strategic battles. Now, my long-term plan is, despite what others may say, I myself know how to put the right people in the right spots, the right positions. And I can give Rome dominance over this genre. I've already said multiple times, I've been looking to bring in good options into each legion if needed. Now, I don't plan on unfairly just removing any legate. If a legate fails constantly, like AJS did, which he did before other people brought people in for him, I wouldn't want that person in my high command. However, for people along the lines of Myth, that have just started their work, I would work with them. I'd help them get ready for this. And this would basically be a long-term campaign against other nations, such as we'd get our military built up for this. We would get it with Wandering Strike, with, if not IO Alex, then Akis 149. I've worked with these people. I've talked with them. I've been in talks with them to get them over these legions. And the long-term plan here would be a successful military campaign so that Rome could dominate this genre, the deuces of each legion, claim multiple governorships. We would get the governorship system going completely smoothly. We would have just complete and total dominance over this genre. That's what my plan here is. I want to get this completely built up.
20 seconds.
I plan on getting this done. I don't have any hesitations on this, and I've won harder situations in this book, and I know I can get this done. I know the legions, the choices I make for them can get this done. There you go.
Awesome. So that's the conclusion of the standard question time. That would get to the fun actual time, where candidates will question each other. How it's gonna work is, each candidate will be allowed to ask 4 questions. When a candidate asks the other candidate a question, they have 2 minutes to respond. After that 2 minutes, the person who asked the question has a minute to counter the argument, and then the person who got asked the question has a minute as well to counter the counter. That makes sense. So it goes from the person asking the question to answering the question to countering that to countering that. It makes more sense when we do the first one. But I'm going to do a coin flip. Basically, whoever wins the coin flip gets to ask their 4 questions first, and then the next person gets to ask their 4 questions. So, heads, okay, and Dmac?
Yeah, I'll take the same as before. I'll take tails.
Alright, well, it was heads again, so I guess tails is not the option. Kyle, you may ask your first question, and then immediately after, Dmac, you get 2 minutes to respond.
So, Dmac, your plan is to go to war. Who's going to command that war?
Begin.
All right. So my plan on who would command that war is I would determine it typically by the legion that performs best in war games. There would be a war council, and typically the legate that won war games, so long as they have shown consistency and ability in their commanding prowess, would be allowed to command the main force of that war with acceptable micromanagement. However, doesn't have to be a legate. If UC won war games, then odds are the UC prefect would have a say if they were called on in the war. However, to continue off of that, this doesn't mean exactly that this won't always mean that person will specifically command if there's issues I've noticed in their commanding. It could be substantive. However, typically it will be the person who won war games because that's the person who showed the most ability. Now, that's all I have to say there.
I originally said a minute, but to save time, Kyle, you got 30 seconds to counter what he just said.
30 seconds? What the fuck? Okay.
You just have to counter the question, basically.
So you're going to put a person who won war games. So you think it's best for someone who won against other Roman legions to be leading the Roman legions against Greek states, even though they might not have gone against Greek states? And where would you be doing all of this? So you wouldn't be commanding yourself?
I see you still got 10 seconds left. That's lots of time, 30 seconds. So you got 1 minute to respond to that, Dmac.
All right, thank you. Okay, so to respond to what Kyle has just said regarding who would command, regarding hinting that wouldn't be exactly the best choice, I disagree. I disagree. Now, I said there would be variables. So say the legate that won war games gets to command in the war. This would have to mean they consistently showed ability. Where I would be in this is I would be more of an advisor and micromanager. I would still put my input in. However, as Consul M, I want to be able to think that I can trust my legate, the ones who are meant to command, with commanding. I wouldn't want to think that my legates can't possibly command a war.
Wrap it up.
I would think that would look pretty poorly on them if they didn't have that ability.
Awesome.
Does my counter have to be a question?
No, it doesn't have to be a question. It can be whatever you want. So, to rephrase what I did before. So basically, that's going to be 2 minutes to respond, 3 seconds to counter, then 1 minute to answer the counter. So, Kyle, may I ask a second question?
I'm not going to ask a question, but I'm just going to say this. So you're going to rely on a legate who has commanded his own legion, right? Maybe the best commander, but commanding a war, you're commanding different legions. These legates, they only work with their own legion. As a Consul M, you're the only one, besides the Praetor M, who has worked with all the legions and all the different legates. Instead, wouldn't you have think it's a better choice if the Consul M was the one leading a war, because they're the one that is constantly working with other legates. The legates can command their own legions, right? But what makes them best to command other people's legions? And wouldn't you find any conflict in that? What would you think an IX legate would think if some legate from II has power over him? And what happens if a war games is won only because a legate has more numbers, but not necessarily through their commanding prowess? Ultimately, in that position, I would be the one commanding. If I was a consul, I'd be commanding a war because I know how to win wars.
All right, I'll let you respond to that, Dmac.
I disagree with a lot said there. So, you stated your goal is to bring unity to the league. So that's the whole point of a single Discord. However, judging by your plans, you don't trust your legates to actually have that time. So my goal would again be that sister legion I mentioned before, which legions would be used to working together completely already. Now, if for any reason a legate just couldn't handle being commanded by another legate, even though I would have put in measures to get the legions closer in combat training and such, in that case, then yes, I would step up. If it just came down to numbers only, like I said, that would be a pretty obvious thing. I would be overlooking the war games. There would be variables to if that would determine if they could command or not. If I actually have to command, then yes, I can command. I've commanded multiple times before. I've won plenty of tough engagements that would just be near impossible. Like with II, I took a failing legion to finals and war games as legate. I did it with barely any time, a week, to get there. So yes, I do know how to win wars. I do know how to fight. I do know how to keep control over legion. However, to say that, I will say I want to be able to trust my legates to work to command their legions and eventually get a system to where they can trust each other as a military, where they'll have ego. They can't have their own egos. They can't contest each other. But at the end of the day, to understand that we're all Romans and we have to work together in that endeavor. That's my opinion.
I'll give you a minute to respond, Kyle. It wasn't really a question.
So,
1 minute.
you say it should be the legates if you want more unity. But who is trying to unite? The Consul M. The Consul M is the one in charge of uniting the military. The legions are just pieces of unification. It's like a legion itself. Let's think to a legion. Maybe this will work better for you. A legate, he commands over all. But his officers, they command, individually, the smaller units. Would a legate trust his centurion to lead a full-scale war game? I probably wouldn't think so. But he trusts his officer to run other parts. Just like in a war, I will trust my legate to ensure their men are good. And they will trust me into commanding them. And that is how unification will work. Your only backup for being a good commander for war is that you won war games against other Roman legions.
10 seconds.
For me, I've won against Lake and the Peerage itself, the best fighters of the genre, and I've commanded and won against them. And you only say you went against you went to finals in war games.
All right, to respond, Dmac.
Okay. So I understand that point, but let me point out the reason I mentioned that legion is I got that legion to that ability in only a week. I managed that in 1 week. I'm not concerned with my ability to command to win wars. In fact, I look forward to proving myself once again in large-scale battles. I look forward to proving my systems are superior and watching my military grow and conquer our enemies. I look forward to doing that. I don't plan to fail. I don't plan at all. And I don't intend to not trust my legates to get the job done. And I do trust myself to get the job done.
10 seconds.
However, in my opinion, I do believe that the military itself will be united through my plans. I don't believe that what I'm doing does not give it.
Wrap it up. Awesome.
Can I ask him one more question?
Yep, yeah, I have to say, I kind of changed the format because of how it was going. I'll give you one more question, Kyle.
I have a very simple question here. Dmac, I have actually 2 parts. Actually, can he answer in between my questions?
How is it?
Like, I'm gonna ask him one and I'm gonna ask him another. It's like simple questions.
Ask him two. Ask him both because he has 2 minutes to respond anyway. So ask him both.
All right, number 1. Do you plan on going to war against Lake in the future? And number 2, have you ever fought against Lake and won? And I'm not talking Perioka. I'm talking all of Lake. Have you won against any of their elite fighters and won, like the Peerage in 30s v 30s?
All right, D-Mac, you may answer. Got 2 minutes.
All right. So to answer your first question, yes, I do. Lake is at their weakest point they've ever been. It's time that we as Rome stand up, we get our military in check, and we march out, and we finally get a victory. Secondly, as of recently, no, I haven't been a part of a wide-scale battle against Lake. And the main reason for this is due to the fact, simply put, that Rome just hasn't been able to have the resources to go against Lake. We can't do anything against Lake. Our military's been in shambles because we've elected the wrong options multiple times, constantly. This isn't just only about fighting Lake. Lake isn't even the biggest threat right now. They're weaker than other Greek states, but we still don't have the ability to defeat them. Our military must get superior. It must gain more ability. My plans will bring it to that point. We'll bring it to the standards that it needs to be at. And we'll fight with PR until they can beat separate forces of like themselves. And once they're able to actually get to that level, once they're able to beat Light as individuals, we'll unite them together as a military for our empire to fight against Light in full. I don't expect Light to be easy despite their weakened state, but I do expect the best out of each of us in our military. And I won't back down. I won't back down. I'll get our military to the very top. I've done it several times in several groups, and I know I can do it again. So yes, while I might not have experience fighting a large-scale war against Light, I don't think that at all should reflect on my ability to command battle and command large-scale battle.
Alright, I was looking at the standard question procedure. Kai got 30 seconds to ask a counter question. So you got 30 seconds starting now.
Okay, so you haven't gone against Lake, and you still believe that you're somehow the best candidate to be leading a war against Lake. And you say that yourself, Lake isn't even the biggest threat. So do you think that you could... How do you think you're just going to magically one day beat Lake? Is it just, oh, our legions are stable and somehow we can beat Lake? Because our legions were fucking stable at the Lake Roman War. We had some of the best legions we've ever seen, and we still lost. We had FFF as a commander. How do you think you're going to be any different than them?
Alright, you got 1 minute to respond. Dmac, go.
So, our legions back then, yes, you're correct. They were stable. However, this isn't just about stabilizing our legion. Our legions were also separate, individual. They refused to work together in most such scenarios. We didn't have a good enough unifying factor to win that war, while Lake did. Lake's always had unity, which is why they typically win these things. The fact is, our legions getting them stable is just the first part. Getting them able to win the war is the second. We have to get Rome's military united and able to handle this threat. Now, I don't have a lot to say here. This is just common knowledge. This is obviously what we need to do. I'm not going to say much more than that. I'm finished.
Alright, awesome. So that concludes the first part of the questions. Now, Dmac's gonna have the option to ask 4 questions or do whatever. We'll see how it goes. We'll go with the flow because why not? So, Dmac, you may ask your first question. Then, Kyle, you got 2 minutes to respond.
Okay. So my first question is, and this is going to be a little bit of a big one. How can we exactly trust to keep a consistent muleti? You say you'll do all these things, but you haven't really defined how you'll actually do them. And what I mean by this is, when you say you know how to do all these things better than me, but you haven't actually said anything regarding what you know. You haven't said any of that. You made a lost statement.
Wrap up
You
the
said
question.
you won't. Oh, what's that, Smorg?
Wrap up the question. It's a pretty long question.
All right, yeah, that's all I have to ask. That's all I have to ask for this first question.
Okay. Well, to unify the Discord, so let's say we have the joint Discord. I've already made the Discord, so I guess I've already done that. I know how to command well. I've commanded against Lake. Just like I've taught my own officers in Macedon, I've taught them rigorously how to train, because there's certain ways how to train, because even Lake, they don't even know how to train. I've been working, I can easily work with legates to ensure that they know what to do. Honestly, the legates that I plan to bring in are already experienced, and they're people I personally raised up. Now, let's talk about structure, how I specifically plan on doing it. Structure. I'm gonna tell the legates to obviously focus on their officers and NCOs, because all the time legates are telling me, "Oh, I don't rally enough," and I'm gonna help them by telling them exactly how to bring in officers, how to raise their officers, how to enforce discipline if they need to. But obviously, I mean, it's more of a legate thing than a consul thing. But I'll still be able to help legates be doing all that. Officers, I'm fucking pretty active. I could easily be watching, especially in the joint Discord. I could be easily watching how officers do their things. I'll always be attending events, see how they do. I'll be reflecting back on what to do and what they could improve on it, because I honestly have made really good units. The joint Discord will provide unity because it'll be like a Legion Discord. It'll be set up like Legions have their own categories, but there's also more, I guess, universal channels that everyone can talk to. I will also be doing a lot of joint events to ensure cohesion. I will also reduce toxicity and not allowing people in the high com to be toxic and spam pinging 24/7.
20 seconds.
And I've been doing all this background work. I mean, I've been bringing in officers, like Wondering, the officers that he's been getting. I've been working with him personally. Not you. It wasn't you that convinced him to come in. He was the one that said, "Oh, I might do it," and then he backed out, and then I brought him back in. I was the one that helped him raise his officer corps to what it is now. And then for Alex, I was the one that also set up the officer corps. I have screenshots of me being in group chats. I've been setting up officer corps so that it can be stable. I've been setting up the structures.
Thank you. Your time's up. You got 2 seconds to ask a counter, Dmac, starting now.
Okay, so my counter to everything that Kyle just stated, I just feel that's more of the same. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the one that convinced Wondering to come or not. He's coming either way. I don't understand why that makes you a better candidate for Consul M, because someone that's going to come into Rome either way, no matter who gets Consul, is still going to come here. Like, that's not a trump card you can play. That isn't actually a trump. Now, to wrap it up, like, I'm still going to say, what are you doing that's going to be so much better?
I got 1 minute to respond.
So, what you've been doing, Dmac, is something that every consul has been doing. You've been putting in legates, and then you've been replacing them. You said it yourself. Oh, Tyr, he's just a temper legate. If he doesn't do good, I'm replacing him. Why do you need a replacement? Why do you have to be so scared that, he'll replace him? And I have screenshots of you doing that. I also have screenshots of you trying to get Alex in when he doesn't even have plans or officers. I'll put it in both the general chat and the Senate chat. Your standards are so low that you were willing to bring in Alex when Alex stated himself, "I don't have an officer corps, I don't have plans," and then you offered to give him officers and he refused to get officers. So you were willing to bring in Alex to a Legion, as a legate of a Legion, replace XX, well, before Neuro left, obviously, replace XX with no officers, no plans, just Alex.
10 seconds.
Do you really think that's something that I can do better? But for me, I'm different. If I'm going to give someone a Legion, I'm going to make sure they have officers when they join, not after they join.
All right, D-Mac, you can ask the next question, or you can make a statement.
Okay, I'm just going to continue off of that. Okay. So, Kyle, I just want to bring this up, So, for one, that was a little bit of a test, because quite frankly, I wanted to see if Alex is just someone who's going to come over not be interested in actually joining another legion under a different council. He's just there for you, and then when you leave, he dips too. So let's face it, the reason the military is in the situation it's in is we have elected quote unquote good council M's that leave it barren after they do good work for a few months. And after they leave, we have nothing, unless you count Huskyism. Because that's what we were left with by constantly electing these people in whose officer corps and legions dip and leave when they do. So that was again what I want to see from Alex. Quite frankly, I don't think you understand why I was in his DMs to begin with.
Wrap it up.
That's it.
Awesome. Kyle, you got 2 minutes to respond starting now.
So you want to talk about legions leaving when the Consul M leaves? Let's see. You're Consul M, and how many legates have left already? 2? 3? Oh, almost 3. Well, 2. 2 for now, almost 3. You need to expect legion legates to be loyal to Consul M's who are willing to bring something to the table. Obviously, it's not anything to control, Dmac. Same shit will happen to you. You can't pull double standards. If you put in legates, let's say somehow you make this elaborate, great military legions under you, right? And then you left, and then the next Consul was someone retarded. Do you seriously think the legions will stay? No. It's just how legions are. That's how people are. You can't expect people to just simply stay there just because. If there's a good Consul M, they'll most likely be loyal to it, and there's nothing both of us can do about it. And here's the thing. Maybe Alex and Wondering want to join because they know that I'm going to be a good Consul. I offer them good things. I know that I'm not going to be retarded. I'm not going to meddle in their stupid affairs. And I know how to command them well if we do go on to battle. We've all been in the same, situation where we've commanded against units before. And that's how we're going to get cohesion. The first step to cohesion is the Consul and his legates. And if you don't want cohesion between the Consul and his legates, then why are you even trying to think about cohesion and unity in the Empire in the first place?
Okay, can I respond now?
I gave Kyle a minute, so I'll give you a minute on this one.
Alright, so I think you're missing the point here. The response I'm giving to you here is what I'm trying to say is I have proven consistency. I won't leave if, in a few months or so, I'll actually stay. I don't know if the same can be said about you. I don't know if we can actually trust you to stay here for a long-term period. You typically don't do that. I'm not saying you dip during your terms. You don't. That would be incorrect. You haven't done that. However, you do typically leave and go after a few months once you lose interest. I can pull up recently you were in Rome less than a year ago, and you were just completely memeing trying to run for senator. I'll send that
10 seconds
into the Senate chat, and this was before you left for life. How can we trust that your legions won't just leave in a few months and you'll reduce us to the same exact state we were just in?
Alright, I got a minute to respond.
Okay, during that meme committee, I wasn't even in Rome. I literally got Louis Snell to post that. So I don't know why you're trying to say, oh, there's no real evidence that you can say oh, Kyle can't stay for the long term. You're really just giving a basis hey, you can trust me, I'm staying. You can't trust Kyle, he's not staying. That's basically your whole basis right now. I'm offering my experiences as a commander. And if you can't trust me to stay for the long term, give me some examples of some groups that I just lost interest and then left. I've never left a group just because I lost interest. Never. My XX, when I started XX, I started around March or April 2019. I left about December when it was AGC got terminated.
10 seconds.
So the fact that you're trying to accuse me of saying, oh, this guy, he leaves groups all the time, when you can't even give a prime example, and the only example you have is a meme committee when I wasn't even in Rome. I didn't even put it up. It was iSpy that put it up. What other evidence do you have?
Wrap it up. Alright, so Dmac, you got a choice. You can rather choose to keep pushing this topic, or you can start a new topic and ask a question. Which one would you like to do? We need to keep pushing this topic.
I would like to ask another question because I have something I want to talk about.
Okay, yep. So you can ask the question. You got a minute to ask the question, then Kyle got 2 minutes to respond to the question as regular.
All right, tell me when to start.
Go.
All right, so Kyle, I just want to know, why do you keep lying? Because quite frankly, you say your goal is to build up the current legates, build up their officer corps, whatever else, and advise them. But you've told multiple people in VC, Smorg included, that your plans are to disband every current legion and then merge them into different legions, which I don't understand why you just wouldn't change the command anyways in that case. But you plan to bring these people in, and you've come at me for having temporary legates so I can replace if needed if the legion keeps declining. But you plan on getting rid of every current legate and replacing them with a different legate. One of which is the LG Dominus I've heard from private DCs with you, which Smorg stated again. This again was stated from Smorg that it was in a VC with you and Dascally. Now I actually want to know about this. Like you keep claiming these things. Have you even talked to Block about taking the Dominus and making him legate? Like, why exactly are you saying you'll keep improving and you're dragging me for bringing in new people, but you're doing the same exact thing?
All right, Kyle, you got 2 minutes to respond.
I think Smorg can agree. I don't think I've ever said anything about disbanding all the current legions and merging them into it. If you can find proof on me saying that, I will gladly say I did it. But there's no evidence of me saying that. And I never said it. I never said I was going to disband all the legions and merge them to new ones. I never said that. Now, secondly, LG Dominus, Nick, we've been in talks. You know why? Because why should our paramilitaries and Nick Wolf, if for the Senate and all the heroes to know, Nick Wolf was an ex-Lacedaemon officer who knows very well combat, and he's a very good commander. So I talked. Why should our paramilitaries be having someone that's good at combat when it should be focused on our legions? Our paramilitaries are guard units. Why should we have someone that's well versed in the art of warfare to be leading LG? And he doesn't even want to lead LG, and that's why I came to it. If he didn't want to do it, I wouldn't have done anything. Dominus of LG can more easily replaceable than legions, and that's why I don't give a shit about it's a Dominus of LG. It's easily replaceable. It's not a position that's like, oh my god, we need a new guy. Now you're trying to accuse me saying, I'm trying to disband the legions. Where do you get your claim for that? I've never said such a thing. I've said this. I will admit I've said this. I will disband legions when I become consul, and if legions aren't meeting up to standards even after I'm trying to help them, then I might just disband them. I have never said I will disband legions right on the spot.
All right, you got 6 seconds to get counter arguments. Go, Dmac.
Okay, so regarding this, you can actually ask Lupus if Smorg told him about this, and Lupus can say yes, that did happen. Now, I'm just relaying what was told to me that you said BC, which strangely enough, Mithridates, who didn't hear anything about this, had the same exact story, even though they never talked to each other to give each other that story before. I just thought that was odd. Did they both come up with the same exact lie on you, Kyle? Did they both state the same lie without talking to each other in advance?
What was the lie again?
Or that you plan on disbanding the current legions and merging them into 3 different legions. That is what they both said. Now, it's kind of weird because Mithridates said that Wondering told him that in DMs, but quickly removed him before he could screenshot it, then deleted his logs. And by that, I didn't intend to pursue it. But then I get logs from Lupus saying that Smorg stated the same thing, and I think that's kind of weird. Like, how did they have the same exact story?
I'm going to interrupt.
Wait. Can I ask a question, Smorg?
No, let me go because it's about me, apparently. I don't remember mentioning anywhere about counter-spending legions. I did mention that I was planning to levy some legions. Let me go back and confirm my logs, though, because I did. Give me a second.
Yes, please get the logs, because I am interested.
I guess Smorg didn't. I don't know.
I'm going to check to see if I said something. because I am pretty stupid, so I may have said something, but I'm going to confirm myself.
So Smorg told Lupus.
Nope, you stay muted for now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there seems to be some miscommunication. I went for the chat logs, and I did tell Lupus about kind of planning to levy some legions, but I never said anything about legions to be disbanding. There seems to be some miscommunication. Kyle, would you agree to allow Dmac to ask a new question, because it seems this all came out of miscommunication, not on his end, but on someone else's end?
Definitely not on my end, because I didn't say that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, but
so,
it's not on Dmac's end.
Yeah, I mean, I have a screenshot of Senate chat, and like, it's wondering, he's like, Myth is tripping balls. So I mean, I don't know how that like happened, but I'm just gonna say it, not me. Yeah, he can ask a new question. I don't care. He can persist on.
Okay.
Hey, hold on. S'more, was my mic working?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so all I was trying to say is, to add to that, if you're planning on levying 3 legions without disbanding any legions, and when the state the military's in, then either you're lying or you got the dumbest idea possible right now. You really think this military can handle 6 legions right now at once? Like, what are you thinking if that's your plan? I don't understand what exactly your plan is. If you're planning on having 6 legions at once, it makes no sense. It would literally spread the military far too thin. So either you're planning on disbanding a few to put them into another legion, or I don't really know. I don't really understand.
Okay, so I'll make you understand. So
okay, you got a minute to respond.
Okay, so basically, I'm not just gonna get 3 legions and just throw legates like how you do. Like, oh, I'm just gonna put Myth in IX and hope he does like some good shit. I'm gonna put Tyr in IX, hope he does some really good shit with it, or else I'm removing him. No, I'm setting him up with officer course. And I said again, I will disband legions if they're not meeting to standards. Obviously, some legions aren't meeting to standards. I'm not gonna mention which. I'm not gonna disband it right off the bat. I'm not gonna levy legions right off the bat either. But at least I know this: the legions that I levy will be ready at a moment's notice if I can, because I have the structure set up. I'm not just going to throw in a legate and hope he does all the work. I'm not going to do a VI. I'm not going to say, all right, I'm removing AJS. Darley, you go in, put in your own officers, do your own shit. And I'm not going to help you with it, Darley. And Darley, if VI fails, you're getting removed. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm setting up cores before the Legion's already made. I'm setting up the Legion before the Legion is made, so that when it comes out, the only issue it will have is manpower. And do we really have an issue on manpower when we're a fucking 192,000 member group?
Okay, so
I'll give you a minute to respond.
Okay, so you're saying this. You're mentioning AJS like it was a mistake to force AJS out of his legate position. So I'm assuming you're saying that you would agree with AJS being legate, or you think I made the wrong decision? Like, AJS failed VI multiple times. So either AJS got out of that position, or if nobody else was going to take it, I decide, yeah, VI just isn't capable of being a Legion anymore. AJS has failed that position numerous times. The only reason he's even moderately doing successful in it right now is because the Harley is currently carrying him with Flavius, as well as yourself, because you were in that legion. You brought Flavius, who is helping carry him. So all I have to say is AJS is incapable to stay legate, because the moment they leave, the moment they're gone, he has nothing again, and there we go. Situation.
Thank you. It's a bit weird, but to go back to the previous statement, I'm allowing Lupus to speak, because his name was brought up as well. Lupus, you got 2 minutes to discuss.
To clear up the miscommunication that was quite clearly stated in a couple minutes ago, I did hear some things from Smorg. Now, about merging legions, that was not from Smorg. I did hear it from someone else, and someone's name that I will not bring up. I did give it to Dmac so he could use it, although I assume it'd be within discretion. I did hear something about legions merging and Alex wandering and Nick Wolf getting legions. Although I did not get that from Smorg. I did get something from Smorg, but it was not about merging. So to clear that miscommunication up, that's all I wanted to say. That's why I wanted the 2 minutes, because my name was just put out there.
Alright, so it's gone a bit weird now with the debate. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give a final minute to speak on this topic to each candidate, starting with Kyle. Then after that, we'll move on to concluding statements. To clarify, there won't be any more counter-arguments after this. Each get 1 minute to discuss this current topic, and then we're going to move on to finishing up. So Kyle, you may begin. You got 1 minute.
What do I talk about? You said give me a topic.
About Lupus and me and I guess. I'm trying to get back to the original question.
Well, I never said shit, so that's that. Like, I didn't say shit about merging legions. I've never mentioned merging.
I've never confirmed it. I've only ever said that I heard it from someone else.
I've never said it. So
okay, so I feel like this is a giant pile of miscommunication, so I'm just gonna move on.
I say we avoid this.
Yeah, we just avoid it. It's just going stupid. It's just gonna be just debate stupid. So everyone in the voice chat, it just seems like there was some miscommunication by some member in Rome. We're just gonna leave it for now and look into it afterwards. But for now, let's move on to the concluding statements. Basically, I'm gonna give each candidate 3 minutes to just talk about, just to conclude the entire argument of why they should be Consul M. And one last thing too, you may not, whoever goes second in concluding statements, may not count to the other concluding statements. It's just counting the points brought up in the questions, opening statements, etc. So I was gonna flip a coin, but Kai, you got twice already. So Dmac, you may go first with concluding statement. You got 3 minutes. Let me set up a timer. 1 second. And begin.
Okay, so I'm just going to get to the point here. There's a lot of things people have said that Kyle said that he's refusing to say he said. Kyle's also changed on plans a few times, saying he was going to levy XII, but then changing his mind on that when it got more flack than he expected. Quite frankly, I just want to talk about this. I've also, ironically, got some of his most vocal supporters inside my Prater M's DMs saying that I have a voting block incorrectly, spreading that around. On top of that, I've also seen people, and by people, I mean IL Alex, threatening another member of Rome, saying that he won't be singing for long, let alone be here. Quite frankly, I'm just going to come out and say it. I believe Kyle, I won't slander him by saying he is, but I do believe he's using proxies to make controversial or false misleading statements, because others heard he was also being appointed when Roasted said he wouldn't be appointed multiple times. I believe he's using misleading statements. And let me just say, we don't need a council in that can't even take accountability for past action. Kyle's been effortlessly doing these actions because he lacks faith he alone can convince the Senate of his ability. However, I don't need to take these flimsy actions. I've been put in impossible situation after impossible situation in Rome. Years ago, I took II for being disbanded, finishing in finals and war games. And I did it again with UC when it was rallying 5 people. It took it to a 70-person rally. Yeah, UC apparently could have fought all of Lake by itself in the large-scale battles Kyle talks about, those 70v70. UC just could have done that itself. The military has been presented to me in an impossible situation, which means I'm the guy for the job to bring it back. I'll take full accountability for everything I'm saying here. I'm not here to blow hot air and be a people pleaser. Just to gain your vote and then leave with it or do something else entirely than what I promised. I'm here to give real solutions and fix this military that was failed time and time again. I don't care to do this for my own rank. I'll win this debate, then this election, because I care about Rome. Specifically those that reside within it that will be wronged if I fail. UC did rally 70. That's an incorrect statement. That is an actual incorrect statement. I can confirm with Expelius and Garfield that we rallied 70 people. I'm not backing down from this. I want this position because I know I'm the best fit for it. I'm tired of being around the bush, hiding behind false statements while misinformation's been spread around on a consistent basis. Quite frankly, my plans that I present to you are actually what I intend to do. That's what I intend to do. That's who I am. I don't break my promises. I get them done. I'm done with this. I'm done. S'more, go ahead and pass it off.
Kyle, you got 3 minutes. Go.
All right. So I guess, I guess Dmac wants to say like I did some shit. I could ask. I mean, if you guys want to ask Cool Chris, like, I mean, I didn't do shit. I never spread any word that he had a voting block, so I don't know why he wants to slander me that in this initial statement. But we'll continue on. Look, I know how to best run a military because I've done it. It's not, oh, I brought a Legion back to war games. No, I don't give a shit about fucking war games. I've done that shit with XX. Everyone knows my story about XX. It could be the same said for XX. But I don't care about Legions being good. I care about the entire military being good. And if we go to war, who's going to lead it? You, Dmac? You, who has never won against Lake? You, who doesn't even have the absolute strategy or any know about
sounds like
how
a good time to start.
I give you the courtesy. I give you the courtesy to not fucking interrupt you, and you're gonna interrupt me. Really? All right, let's continue on. You, Dmac, are you really gonna be the one that's going to lead Rome? How do you magically expect our military legates to just somewhat get good? You think you say everything about war games, and war games is just gonna keep making us dumber and dumber going against Lake because we will be too focused fighting ourselves rather than focusing on making new strategies, fighting different Greek states. And I've done it. I've done it all. I fought Greek states. I fought everyone, and I'm the best one to command against Lake and any other group. Phrygia, Thessaly, that's me. I'm the one that you want to be on the front lines there. I'm not going to be a consul that's going to sit back. I'm a consul that will lead from the front. And if you want a legion, if you want Rome to actually have a military again, a military that's meant to conquer, then vote for me. If you want a legion, I mean, I'm going to say this. Dmac, he can make a legion pretty stable if he tries enough, right? If he replaces enough legates, he could probably make some legions stable. But do you really think he can just make our legions super good at combat just out of nowhere when he himself isn't really the greatest in strategy and warfare? I will be able to unite our legions through our Discord, through my entire plans. Read my committee. My entire plans through my Discord will be able to get us to be able to do more joint events more cleanly, be able to get us to be more unified in terms of chats, just like our Roman Discord. We have to start thinking like the groups that beat us. Why is Lake able to beat us? Why? We can't do the same things we've been doing over and over and over again. We will lose again and again if we don't change the reasons why we lost. And if you want change, then vote for me. And that's what I'm proposing. Dmac isn't proposing any real change. He's just going to do the same thing, just his own taste. That's all.
Alright, so I'm sure you both want to counter each other, but I did say that was the end of the debate.
Yeah.
We're at the hour and a half point. If you guys really want to keep arguing, there's a sad chat. You can go ahead if you guys wish, and it'd be kind of entertaining. But I did a census in 7 announcements. I'll give it like 5 more minutes in case you guys didn't see it to have constants. The election is posted now because everyone's DMing me about that, so you guys choose to vote for that. But this concludes the debate. There was a lot of stuff, and
Hey, S'more, I have a question.
Okay, but yes.
Why does VI have 2 military reps?
Because each legion gets 2 military reps.
Abolish that. If that's
Christ.
the case, then
if you
that's the case.
That's my bad. That's my bad. I'm just stupid big brain dead.
Okay.
I'll fix that.
I was going to say, if that's the case, I could just give other legions 2 as well, but that works too.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If you want to give them each 2. But that concludes the debate. You guys are all dismissed. If you guys want to speak in voice chat, we're back to standard form. Unless you're not a senator, then you're not a person. So I'll give 5 more minutes to the census. If you want to ask more questions, ask them in DMs or in Twitter chat, because I did give a period beforehand to send questions in, and that's been over. But good debate overall. Dismissed, I guess.